and welcome to Fat Squirrel Speak. Today is Wednesday, August 23rd, and I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. Hello, thank you for coming over on this blessedly hot day. Not blessed, it is just hot. Dudes. So this episode's gonna be a mullet episode. We're gonna do business in the front, party in the back. So right off the bat, I'm gonna do shop update news. If you're not interested or you're watching in the future, you can just use the timestamps to skip ahead. But if you are interested, then let me tell you what's going on. There's lots of stuff in the shop. What? I did not do a podcast. Oops. To promote my business. Oops. We were getting the teen ready to go out into the world for college, right? Some of you were like, oh my gosh, I remember when they went to kindergarten. I know, so did I. What the heck? They're done. They're going to college now. A little early, but that's great. So you're not quite as like time warpy as you think, but you're still pretty close, right? I've done this podcast since before my kid was in kindergarten. Like in the olden times when you couldn't even upload to YouTube. Like, cause it was like, there was like a 5-minute limit or something. I don't even know. Right? But anyway, fatsquirrelfibers.com, there's stuff. So there are ready to ship bags that came home from SSK. So let me show you those first. This is not all of them. This is just like a selection. If you don't hate the summer, then it's probably not summer where you are. Can we just like be done with August? Like I know we need the summer for like produce and like, but can we I'm okay. Like I'll just eat hothouse kale. Like I'm okay. I know I can't say that. Because eventually I'll want like a tomato. Anyway. Oh, that's my dishwasher. I'm like, what's that noise? Appliances in my house. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, we gotta do this first. I forgot about that whole thing. Okay, so if you don't hate summer still, or actually if you just love lemon or limoncellos or printmaking, right? Isn't this pretty gal? She's in the shop. So she's a large wedge. She's great for 2 to 3 skein projects. There's also this super cutie pear, again in the printmaker vibe. So this is like a warm black background if you can't tell on the internets. It's a warm black. And this is like a little bit darker than a shell peak. So those are there. And then I have, oh, actually this is cute gal. Right? So she's like little cross stitchy stitches. And she's in a sweater size. These are all denims, unless there's one that's not, and I'll tell you which one it is. But there she goes. And they all have my traditional unbleached lining. So again, this is sweater size. So these are great for in-progress sweaters for smaller folks. Or like, you know, Hohi Locatelli, like 8 skein shawls or whatever. She's fitting right in here. She's happy. And then I have also these cute gals. Right? Sort of like a modern patchwork vibe. I have this one in this size, and there's one left in the biggest, like the Aran sweater size. So great, fun, bright colors. Pencils. Right? Are you jealous that you're not getting back to school supplies for yourself? That's all I'm saying. Also get back to school supplies for yourself, dude. I have an obscene number of fancy pencils. Obscene. I love pencils. I do know there is one. I was just gonna say. The only thing I don't like of them is this, like that. Like they're not archival. Somebody out there is an archivist. Like, oh no, there are archival pencils. Do tell. Are they still pleasant to write with? Do you still get that nice texture of a pencil on paper? When I was in college, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm such a nerd. I actually made all of my own note-taking notebooks. I used like a toothier paper that was blank, and then I just 3-hole punched like giant stacks of them, and then just used those like binder not binder clips, but the, you know, the rings that you can open and close. And then like, that's all my math notebooks were all that way. Because I love to write on grippy paper with pencils. It's the best. And that also helps them to not smear as much. But I know that there are like, I think Uniball makes a non-smear pencilette. I gotta try it out. Part of me is afraid it'll be like slightly waxier and so that it won't. Do you have an opinion on it? Have you used it? This is like one of you. Of the like 6,000 folks who are watching this, one of you is like, yes, it is too waxy, or it's not. I don't know, but only one. I'm speaking to one of you right now. Okay, my pencil bag, also sweater size, delish. There's this fun sort of like Art Nouveau-y, like, oh, let's hang out and knit and watch Poirot together. Meow. I'm currently on another Poirot kick. I've watched them all. But I will be honest with you, Poirot is one of those that I can watch an episode and be like, I know I've seen this episode. I have no idea what happens. Because inevitably at some point, like I've just been lulled into the peace of the voices of the Poirot and the like attractive colorscapes and have just like not at all paid attention to what was going on. Probably because it was on my stupid phone. Admission. But so isn't she pretty though? So coming from my 1910s house to you. And then this is the only one that is not denim. And it has this great maker print. It is a cotton linen, and then that is interfaced. And then on the bottom is a black Essex cotton canvas, which is also, the whole piece is interfaced. So like with a batting. So it's got a little bit of squish to it, but it is a different fabric. But isn't, right. Okay, so then the next things I'm going to show you are actually pre-orders. And they went up August 1st, but I'm going to leave them up for like another week because again, I did not promote myself at all. I just was in like a slump. It was like my brain was doing way too many things and also nothing at all, right? You know what that's like, right? Like getting the kid ready, like there's like teenagers coming in at my house constantly. And by constantly, I mean like every third day for 1 to 4 hours. Like that's a lot for me. But so yeah, but it's an all butts pre-order. Did you think I said all butts? I did say all butts. It's an all butts pre-order. So carrot butts and mushroom butts were very popular at SSK. So I decided to just do a whole pre-order and I added another one. So you can get a sock size bag. These are a linen cotton twill. No, they are a cotton twill. They're like a lighter weight cotton twill. So that means it has like sort of like the diagonal texture of a denim, but it's not quite as heavy. Just because of the size of the bag, but they're still quite robust and they're all again. Okay. So you can get mushroom butts, you can get carrot butts, or you can get butterflies. And I literally mean, this is not a stretch. These are all the same graphic designer. They're butts. So I wasn't trying to be clever with the butterflies, because that's literally what they are. So my pre-orders are my pre-orders are listed at 4 to 6 weeks. So it'll be about that long. If you order something that is ready to ship with a pre-order, of course it will hold until the pre-order goes out. Standard. So I've got sock size, and then I've got large wedge in each of these prints, right? As well as this print. So this is very similar to the black butts. Just has a little bit more, I thought it had more space between each one, but maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just looks like there's more because it's mustardy. Right. So I've got the mustard print in large wedge sweater and Aran sweater. So this is the biggest gal, right? She's a big gal. She's about 19 inches wide. She will hold a whole crap ton of yarn, right? These are my favorite bags because like you can just throw everything in them, right? Like you're like, I'm going to take 7 projects with me to this place. Like, oh, sure, throw it in here. And you got butts. Who could ask for more? Except for August to be over. No, I'm not trying to wish time ahead. Sorry. And then also you can get carrot butts in large wedge sweater and Aran sweater, right? So there's just a bunch out there. FatsGrowFibers.com. There's pre-orders. There's ready to ship. Those are all active right now and probably will be until like, I don't know, August 31st-ish. And then September 1st is Halloween and fall. I'm very excited about the Halloween fall. They're always my favorite bags to do. So those will be September 1st, and those will all be ready to ship. Of course, that's like Labor Day holiday in the US, so they won't go out immediately. My bags never go out immediately, but they'll have to wait until the next week. Probably until Wednesday, because I love my post office ladies, and the day after a holiday, they're always swamped, and so I want to make them cry. They would never cry. They're always so pleasant, but I don't want to cry for being a jerk to them. Okay, so that's the business in the front. Let's do the party in the back. How have you been? It's been so long since we've talked. I don't want to like overwhelm you, so I tried to like split up what we're going to talk about and made notes, and you know I'm not going to actually follow them at all. Guess what? My dryer died. Right? My dryer was from November of 1999, and she left this mortal coil sometime in August. Early August? Oh no, she died right before I went to SSK. That's right. She died right before I went to SSK. Well, okay. Okay, if you don't know anything about me, I really am like adamant that I don't want to get a new washer and dryer. Spoiler alert, I did. So I've been trying to fix this old dryer because basically a dryer, if you get it like before, I'm making up a date, 1980. Actually, that's not true because mine's from 1999. Some dryers are literally just like toasters with a revolving thing, right? Like the actual element that heats the air that's like blown into your dryer just looks like that coil in a toaster. And so we've replaced the bearing, like the little cradle that holds the like knob that comes off of the drum that like it like lets it spin. We did that a while ago. And then we replaced that heating element like, I don't know, a little while ago. Not very long ago. And apparently we did not do a very good job. It has like these little ceramic like footings that are like on top of this round plate, and you have to like kind of like, it's almost like, it's not at all like that. I was gonna say it's like the little coil that's on your skein winder or whatever, and you have to like lace. It's not like that though. It's just like a little like kind of like a clip, and I think it's ceramic, which would make sense because it's heat resistant or whatever. And you've got to like work the coil. The coil comes like just like super tightened up. You have to like stretch it out, and you've got to like work it into these little things. And we apparently did not do a very good job of working it into the little things, because right before I left to SSK, I turned on the dryer and it sounded horrible, like just horrible. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I open it up, and the heating element is like bright red. Like you can see it through the holes in the back of the drum. It's like glowing, like Thor's furnace or whatever. He has a hammer. It seems like he would have a furnace. Anyway, it's glowing like magma in the back of my dryer. Well, I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I realized, actually my husband realized, and I doubted him. He goes in there a few minutes later after I'm like, I'm in the dryer. He goes in there a few minutes later and is like, yeah, it's not even turning off. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not turning off? It's just hot. Like, it's just red because it's hot. No, apparently it actually was like actively heating that coil. Like something happened in the internal gizzards of the whole thing. And it was like no longer when you open the dryer door was it, I mean, it stopped the revolution of the drum, but it did not stop electricity going into that coil. And so luckily he realized it before we set our house on fire. Even though I doubted him. That I did admit that I was wrong. I will always admit that I am wrong. Well, if it's proven that I am wrong. If there are facts that show I'm wrong. And so I'm like, oh crud, I'm trying to get a great SSK. Luckily, you know, I can air dry clothes. It's not a big deal. I just don't like to air dry my underwear. But I have an inside like little rack, so I put them in here. Whatever, it's fine. We get back and then I'm like, okay, we gotta like do this event. Like we've got to get this done. So we go to replace it. And actually what's happened, and it's such a pain, by the way, you have to open up the top of the dryer. There's like these clips that are finicky to like lift up the lid. And then you have to release the like rubber band. You have to release the belt that is what moves the, you know, it's like the mechanism that makes the drum move. You have to like go in there and like do something funky in the inside gizzards of the thing, in the back, on the floor, of course. You have to release this like thing. And then of course the spring that like holds it flies off and like that's a whole thing. And then you have to like pull the front of the dryer off while also like holding the drum of the dryer. It just feels like it's a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. It's like such a basic mechanism, but whatever. So we get it all taken apart. I realized that the coil has come, like not only has it just like come loose, I thought it had just come loose. It was like rubbing against the drum. It has come loose, broken, and then wrapped itself around the like bearing, like the little knob that sets in the thing that, whatever. It's wrapped itself around there. So maybe the break in the wire was what made it not like turn off when but that doesn't make any, whatever. I don't know how things work. I am the epitome of like the sci-fi trope of like the super futuristic society where nobody knows how anything works. I still don't know really how telephones work. Like landlines even. I guess I don't need to know that one anymore. I don't know how anything really works. So at this point, like I am just like looking like, okay, I guess we've got to get a new coil, which they're not expensive, but you have to like order them. I'm like, and then my husband has like a total like meltdown where he's just like, nope, not doing it anymore. Let's get a new one. And I was like, really? We've just resisted for so long. But he was adamantly done. And I was adamantly not interested in doing the entire project by myself. So we got a new dryer. And then because we got a new dryer, my washing machine looked really bad next to it. Because I think my washing machine is actually older than my like November 1999 dryer. And like the front of it, like not only was it dented in, whatever, it had like speckled rust down the front. And like it just looked grubby and stuff, but I was fine with it before. I was completely fine with it. I was like, whatever, I'm gonna use this till I'm 90. But then we got the new dryer, and like even though we didn't get like the fanciest dryer, it still made the other one look really gnarly. And so I succumbed to the new washing machine and dryer. It's still a top load. I am adamantly like not into the front load machines. I'm not against you having a front load machine. I love that you love your front loading machine, but I do like the top load. But we went with the no agitator. Okay, I went with the no agitator. I can't speak to it because I know that appliances don't last like they used to, which is really sad. but I could almost, I think, fit inside my new washing machine. It's huge. If you have an old washing machine, don't go look at new ones, because you're just gonna want one. I can put like a whole basket of laundry in it, and it's not even full. I washed a sleeping bag. Usually when I wash a sleeping bag, I have to like very precisely space it around the agitator, and I've got to like very precisely tuck it down inside, because I've done it before and I wasn't as precise about getting the thing tucked down in there, and it actually like got caught between like the drum of the washer and the top, and it like burnt a hole in the sleeping bag. Like the friction of it, I guess. And like, and then I was not even confident that it was actually getting clean. I was like, I think it's just getting wet on the outside, but whatever. I'm not going to a laundromat. Because of course, whenever you want to wash things like that, it's like, you know, I don't think about it until I'm in like that cleaning. Like I have 2 cleaning phases: not cleaning, and oh my gosh, we're the dirtiest people in the entire world. We have to burn our house down. Like I have no moderation at all. And so whenever I'm like washing big stuff like that, it's like I don't have the mental capacity to be like, oh, I'll put this aside and we'll take it to a laundromat. Because I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, no, this has to be washed or I'm gonna set it on fire in the backyard. Those are the only things we can do. My neurons are weird. I don't know what chemicals I'm lacking or I have an excess of, but they're problematic. I wish I could be those people that are like, oh yeah, you do the 10 minutes of cleaning a day and then you're never freaking out and ready to plan arson on yourself. I wish I were that person. It worked when I was younger, because I moved, like not when I was a kid, but like when I was a young adult, like in my 20s. Like it worked because I moved frequently enough that you had like the deep clean purge every so often. But now I have not had a deep clean purge for like, I don't know, how long have I lived here now? 18 years or something? I can never move. I'm just gonna die here. It's too much to think about. Anyway, we do have a washer and dryer, and they are hella sexy. I am not gonna lie, they are super duper hot. Like I might write an ode to them or make a Karuk style love song to them. Karuk is new to me. Corook. You might have heard her. She did that like If I Were a Fish song that kind of got TikTok famous, which is darling. But I have recently discovered there are a few other of her songs that I am addicted to. And one of them is like a love letter that she is singing. I say love letter. It's a song. It's not a love letter. It's a song. Like her 2nd grade self is singing to like her older sister's friend. And it's so cute and such an earworm that I'm going to not sing it because then I'll get YouTube dinged for it. But, and I've never awaited a drop of a song because I have like a weird thing about music. I think it's like a stimulus thing. Like I can't find, like usually I cannot find to find the correct level of stimulus with music is too much for me to try to figure out. Like it's like a really deep mathematical proof that I just am never in the mood to do. And so I don't really listen to music that often unless it's just like 80s pop or whatever, like that's like a no-brainer. And so I don't usually like explore music because that's not in my thing. But oh my gosh, she's got a new song coming out that's called Emergency Contact, I think. And it's so stinking sweet. It comes out on Friday. So stinking cute. Anyway, so that's and also she's got another song that where she's anyway, it's just very cute. Hell Yeah is another one that I really appreciate. And basically, I say to you, in the sentiment of the song, that I hope when you look in the mirror, you say, hell yeah. No matter who else. I just hope that that's what the moment you have. You look in the mirror, you're like, hell yeah. That's the cutest sentiment. That's like the best wish. It's not the best wish, but it's a pretty great wish to wish on somebody. So I wish it on you. Wishing it on you. Where were we even going with this? I got a new washer and dryer. That was not one of the things I was going to talk about. Off the book already. But yeah, like we went and picked peppers, which was super fun. Local farm has you pick, and they have several things. One of the things they do is peppers, and they are so fun to pick because they are just, I don't know what chemicals they are putting on them. I know that they are putting chemicals on them because there is no way that these pepper plants, like they are more pepper than plant. Like it's just mathematically not possible that they are not on like gamma radiation or something. But it's so fun to pick. So we went and picked jalapenos to do some candied jalapenos because those are like a fun thing I like to have on hand. It really is like, they're like candied jalapenos. They're like jalapenos preserved in a very sweet brine. And they're festive. Like they're great if you just like, if you've made something and you're like, this thing needs something. You know what it needs? Candied jalapenos. That's what it needs. So they're like great on pizza. They're great as a topping for the tacos. They're great for everything. And I was out, so like that was perfect. And then we got I also got some Hungarian hots just to do like banana rings because those are always fun to have on hand. And then they did have some pickling cucumbers, and my garden, great, y'all. It's a hot, like it's literally and figuratively a hot mess right now. Like it is just weeds. I failed on all my gardening. There's like some zinnias there's just like 7. My dahlias, I got into the ground too late. So plants are all planty, but they're not flowering. I'm hoping I might get some fall flowers out of them. We'll see. But literally everything is just a massive weeds. Like my wildflowers didn't work this year, which is so weird. Like, so I planned to try to get some pickling cucumbers in because like I try to do them like every other year-ish. Because like pickles I have no problem with my sweet pickles lasting 2 years. Anyway, I didn't get to it. So I got them from there and they were beautiful. And I was so excited to make my bread and butter pickles. And I made them. They're awful. I even got new spices because I knew that like my mustard seed and my celery seed, I was out of celery seed. And I was like, my mustard seed, I am not confident that this is, still happy. And I'm not going to just like chew it up to figure that out. So I even got new celery seed and new mustard seed. The only thing they're super bitter. Like super bitter. They're sweet pickles. Like it's not like I forgot something. There's sugarness. They're sweet, but they're super duper bitter. I don't know what happened. The only thing I can think of is that I did use, Ball makes a product called Pickle Crisp, which is calcium carbonate. And that was old. Like that was not new. Because a jar of it's like $12. And I wasn't prepared. I wasn't thinking I was going to make them, so I didn't have it on hand. And I was just like, I have this one. But like it had like solidified. Like how brown sugar will solidify over time. It has done that. I was like, just scrape it off. It'll be fine. So that's what I'm thinking maybe happened. Do I have chemists out there? What happens to calcium carbonate when it like oxidizes or something? Like when you leave it too long? Does it turn into some terrible chemical? Am I actually maybe poisoning myself with these pickles? I mean, I'm not going to eat them. They're terrible. It's just sad. They smelled so good in their little pickly bowl. They're terrible. Bitter pickles. I've never had this happen before. I tried to look it up and they suggested like that your spices were too old or that you had too many. It's not that. It is, well, A, because I got new ones. But it's not even that there's too many because A, I followed the same recipe I always do. But B, like, it's not too strong. It's like straight up bitter. So sad. So sad. But one good thing in the world of produce, I was so worried that our apples were going to be bad this year because I've been looking, because I was trying, before the kid went off to school, I was trying to go do our U-pick. And I knew that we wouldn't get like our normal applesauce apples, which are like Cortland's and whatever, there's another one that we sometimes use. And so I knew that those would be too late, but like I thought we could get some Akanis, which I like to eat quite a lot. They're an earlier apple, like lots of times even at the end of July, early part of August. And like they never showed up on my orchard site for U-pick. And I was like, and they had just like one, they just had ginger golds forever. And we ended up getting ginger golds. I don't like them. Okay. But like, I was so nervous because then I was like Googling like what's going on with the apples in Indiana. And the other thing I found was that there was like a Danville orchard, which is relatively close to us, that said that they had a really bad harvest this year because they had a hard frost when their apples were blooming. And then something else, which I can't remember. I can't remember what the other thing was. And I was just like, no. But we went to the orchard and we did do some picking, just, you know, for the sake of it. But the other apples look great. I was so concerned that we were going to get there and there were going to be like no apples on the trees. I was super stressed, but they look great. It must just have been like, maybe like the Akane, since they're, I don't know. I don't really know. I guess there's like, do the apple trees bloom at different times if they fruit at different times? I don't think so, right? They have like a general, but whatever. It must just have been the Akanis that weren't happy at our orchard this year, or some of the earlier apples just weren't happy, because the other ones seem like they're looking beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah. So that's very exciting for the falls. And then another thing we did is we went to the zoo. Oh my gosh. The Indianapolis Zoo, we've not been forever, since pre-pandemic. We have free-ranging kangaroos now. Like, not fully free-range, and they're not just, like, in the parks. But there's, like, an enclosure that you can walk into, and there are kangaroos. And I'm so mad at myself, because I actually read an article when this first opened. It's been a while. When this first opened, and I read an article where people were like complaining because they couldn't like cuddle the kangaroos. And instead of me taking away from the article like, oh my gosh, you can walk into the place where there are kangaroos, I took away from the article like, oh, people. And then completely forgot the magic of, oh my gosh, you can walk into the place where there are kangaroos. Shame on me. And the media. But mostly me. Because you could totally walk into the place with kangaroos. And at first I was like, are you sure? Because like all I could think of were like those memes of the like super ripped kangaroos that are like standing outside people's like sliding glass doors looking like they're about to vandalize them. These, I don't know, these are not like that. For one thing, there's only one male that's not snip-snipped. And so like the other males, maybe they, I don't know, but they were all like really cute and not very big and definitely not scary. And I think she said 6 of the mamas are somewhere in the like having joeys phase. So, right, like they have the itty bitty embryonic joey in the uterus, and then they have like the tiny joey that can't do anything. And literally, I didn't realize that it's actually attached to the teat inside the pouch. Like its little mouth is stuck on there. Like she said, sometimes you'll see like a foot kick out or a tail kick out as they get bigger. But and then it releases after a certain amount of time, and then the joey can like put its little face out and then eventually can hop out. So they've got like 6 mamas in various stages of that process. Well, none of them had joeys like that were popping out or anything, but does that mean like I have to like go to the zoo like every month now for like a kangaroo checkup? I think I might. I'm just gonna be like an old white lady by myself walking at the zoo. Also, I was like, why don't we mole walk at the zoo? Because that's way more fun. Anyway. Also, I totally had a thing for like up until I like had a toddler where I could not go to the zoo. Like if it just made me emotionally it messed me up emotionally. I got way too sad. And so I don't know if I'm just deader now but the zoo doesn't make me sad anymore. I mean, it can if I like think about it too much. I don't want to think about it. Because there's kangaroos. And like my teenager touched one and then petted another one. Like very cautiously. With the lady right there. They're kangaroos. It's crazy. And exciting. And there are also some unhinged birds, which is super fun. Like when you go in, they're like, don't touch don't stay on the path and don't touch the birds. And I was like, birds? Because we go in and all I see are like house sparrows. And I'm like, why would I want to touch a house sparrow? I mean, okay, I guess. Why are there house sparrows? And then I realize that are they cockatoos? They're cockatoos, right? They're like the big, beautiful Australian birds. And like some of them are just being beautiful and just like peachy and like their like little feathers are blowing in like a soft breeze all the time. And then there's one who like has a messed up eyeliner pen. She needs some more YouTube videos. She's like me if I tried to put on eyeliner. She's got like eyeliner. Like her coloration is really intense around her eyes. And like, she's kind of like, I don't know if she's like molting or if she's just, maybe the other birds pick on her. I don't know. But she's a little bit like more straggly looking. Not like super straggly, but she's just a little bit straggly looking. And she's fully unhinged. Like there was the keeper who works in that area and then like he had a visitor and they were talking and the bird would fully not leave the other lady alone. Like the guy who works there has like muck boots on. And specifically he later said he wears them because of this bird. Like this bird he's got like 1-to-1 bird job. Like his job is to like keep this bird from attacking people. And like, while that might mean that that's the reason the zoo is so expensive to go to now, I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of okay with this unhinged cockatoo who is like literally like he had to get out like this baby rake. Like this, I don't know if it's literally like a cockatoo rake. I don't know if it's like a bird handler rake, but it kind of looks like a rake you would get for your like toddler to like let them help you garden. He's like a rake where he's like trying to wrangle this bird and keep it from like nipping at this woman's legs and heels. Unhinged. So I hope you look in the mirror and say hell yes. And I hope you have a little bit of unhinged bird energy. That's my hope for you. I wish, I was like, I don't think they would let me take a, like, camp chair in there. But maybe, like, one of those, like, English walking sticks that has, like, a stool built into it. Like maybe I could just get away with I just want to, like, hang out with the kangaroos and just study this bird. Because I think she's got life lessons for me. I don't know what her name is. I should have found out. Do they name? Yeah, they name things at the zoo. Yeah, they're not gonna eat them. And as the lady was leaving, as the other zookeeper was leaving, she was like, all right, I'm leaving. And then she was like, she goes to talk to the bird, but not because of you. You did not win. I am choosing to leave. Enjoyable. So enjoyable. Oh my gosh. So yeah, all those things. So many things. What else? Oh, okay. Okay, I should wait on my recommendations till next time because this is getting crazy. Okay, I'm going to do my recommendations next time. I'm going to try to do another podcast next week because again, I'll have my fall bags to show you. So I gotta like, you know, parse it out a little bit. So let's talk about knitting, yo. What? Let's do it. Okay, so I'm not sure if I showed you this or not. Did I show you? I did finish my Musselburgh hat. How cute is it? So this is out of Mustache self-striping. And luckily with her must match skeins, it's super easy. It's super easy to do the Musselburgh because you can just knit into the skein and then you just use the other skein to do the inside. So, right? Super fun. This is one of her national parks colorways. I want to say it's Acadia, but I could totally be making that up. But super fun. Such a fun knit. You get to use your whole skein of self-striping, which is very satisfying. And also it's just cute. And if you don't like a slouchy hat, you can totally fold the brim up. And then you have 4 layers of yarn. Right. So if you don't like the slouchy, you can fold it up. But I do like a slouchy. Ta-da! So I wasn't sure if I showed you that, but I actually finished it a while ago. And then I also finished my Versa cowl. What? So the Versa cowl is a pattern by Darn It Anyway. So darn and knit. I believe it's a free pattern if I'm not mistaken. And it uses 2 colors of worsted, I think. Yeah, Malabriga Rios. But I used fingering weight and just held it double. So I used some of my, here, let me actually, some of my Another Crafty Girl. Oh my gosh, she's totally doing a board game club, y'all. She's doing a yarn club inspired by board games. AnotherCraftyGirl.com. Okay. So this is one of hers. This is not a board game. And then Republica Unicornia, who's super cutie. This is one of hers. Okay, so the Versa cowl is actually by Amy, A-I-M-E-E, Pelletier, P-E-L-L-E-T-I-E-R. And my Another Crafty Girl Strong Sock is Yaha. And then my Republica Unicornia BFL is Dirty Old Town. This is really great. I really dig it. So, Dirty Old Town. So yeah, super fun. It's got this great stitch and then stripes. So you can either, it's made so that if you want to, you can fold it in half. If you really like one or the other. And so you have like a stiffer short cowl, right? Or you can just wear it long. So you could either do this jam, and I hope your hair does exactly like that, and you say, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Or you can just, you know, slouch it. Either way, it's great. So this is a super fun project. And again, you can hold fingering double and get the same effect if you just happen to have more fingering weight yarn in your stash, like I think all of us do. So Versacal. And then I also finished, I also finished some socks. So this colorway, I apologize, I no longer know, but it is from Nomadic Yarns, and isn't it great? How great is that? So this is sport weight, and it's a merino superwash nylon, just like a plain Afterthought sock, except I do make my Afterthought heels deeper because I have a thick heel to front, like that diagonal, like to where the bend in my foot is, to the heel, is super chunky. And so I think like on Laura Linneman's Afterthought sock, she might do like 5 rows. And she also has an option to do some short rows, I think. But what I do is measure from my toe to like that bend in my foot. And that's where I cut in my heel. And then I just make it the length it needs to be for my foot. So basically what I do is I measure how long my toe was. And then I just knit until, like if my foot is 10 inches and I cut my heel at 6 inches and my toe is 1.5 inches, I will knit from 6 inches to 8.5 inches and then start my decreases. So that's how I make my chunky foot sock. See how thick she is? See how thick she is? That's right. So this one, for example, is sport weight and had 12 rows before I started my decreases. And then instead of doing ribbing, I did this stitch from the Versacal, which is just like a broken alternating 1x1 rib. Or you could say it's broken moss stitch. How about that? That might make more sense. Like a broken moss stitch. So yeah, socks for the fall. They feel like they're kind of spooky to me. I don't know. They have a spooky vibe, so I'm excited. Yay! And then, not only do I finish knitting, I've finished spinning. Times 2. I know. And one of them is kind of finished twice. I'll just talk about it in a second. So I think I showed you. Did I show you my big ball of fluff? I bought some Corriedale. And I apologize, I don't know who the vendor is. She's always there, and I think she goes to Maryland Sheep and Wool too. And she just has like balls of milled rovings. So I don't know who she is. I apologize. But this is Corriedale, and it's got nips, which I think are viscose. I'm not sure. But the colorway is called Tree Frog. And I purchased that this spring at the Greencastle Wool Fest. And it's super cute. So this is 8 ounces and I have about 890 yards. It's very cute and fun. So it had some more like greener greens in it, but some of that washed out in the rinse, but it still does have, it must have had some silk in it too, because there's definitely some greeny silk in there. So it must be Corriedale silk and some nips. And then I also finished some, this is 2 of my Knit Spin Farm back clubs. So this is about 5.5 ounces and it's 519 yards. And actually I finished it and I realized that it was not plied tight enough. Like it was definitely like super irregular and just like kind of like lank, you know? And so I don't finish. And then I was so proud of myself that I actually went ahead and replied it. Because like lots of times I'll put them on the thing like, I should probably reply that. And then like, I'm not going to. This one I actually did. And it looks so good. Right? So again, that is from 2 of my Knit Spin Farm back clubs. And she has lots of different options where you can either get, like you can get Like you can get colors that like coordinate with each other or go like, or in the same families. So it makes it easier to do things like that where you just use like 2 of them, 1 for each ply, or, you know, it gives you like ways to kind of play if you want to like make a sweater that's sort of coordinated, but like get more stripey, or you could just like mix them all together or whatever. Super great. Been very pleased with that. Okay. So then, works in progress. I have been working quite a lot on my shoulder season. So this is knit, is a pattern by Shenanigans, and this is knit in Leading Men Fiber Arts in a color. It's their shop sample, so like if you're really curious, they can tell you and sell you their yarn. Meow. Okay, so I have my body done. And I am working on, the pattern is written to just do ribbing on the sleeve, but I added a little bit extra. Like basically what it does, I had like 30 grams of my main color left. So I weighed it out, and I'm doing just like a little bit of an extension on the sleeve. I thought about using and going into my contrast colorway and doing the ribbing. So that's why I've kind of stopped here. I actually did run out of yarn before my bind off. So this is me deciding like, okay, do I take the ribbing out and then do the like black walnut for the ribbing? Or do I, you know, like take apart, well, actually I might have a little bit extra in this other ball that I made of the other 15 grams, because I think I kind of rounded up on that one. So yeah, so that's why there's still needles in that size. So yeah, I just wanted to use up all of my yarn and give myself a little bit of extra sleeve. And the way I did it is I picked up just as indicated, and I just did the garter stitch on the back and then the front pattern on the front of the sleeve. And then I also added the slip stitch that's a detail that kind of consumes. So so you can see it kind of just a tiny little bit. It won't be for anybody else to know, but for me to know that shaping that is here is echoed right here. It would have been more effective if I had more yarn. It could make a longer sleeve, but you know. So that is in progress. And then something you haven't seen, and I need to, I apologize, look up the name of the pattern because it is not freely in my brain's access files. Inlet Vest. So I am working on the Inlet Vest by Carrie Bostic Hogue. I think I've always said Hodge, but it's H-O-G-E. Anyway, Inlet Vest, and it looks like this. It's worsted weight. And why is there a weird needle in there? Okay. It's red needle. I'm using this Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, right? That's the worsted weight. Whatever, I'm using the worsted weight one. What is this color? I purchased this at House of Yarn during SSK. I love Shelter and Loft. Like, I love them a lot. They are spendy. Hello. Am I working on my Vera fall wardrobe? Yes, I am. So Vera, you know Vera, right? Like, Shetland is a crime series. Vera is a crime series. They were all originally books, but I love the visual of Vera that they use. She's always wearing like a ditzy floral, like that's not like the little teeny floral dress. It's like rayon or something, and then like tights and like bloodstones, and then like always like a citron scarf and like a weird hat. It's always like olive drabby or brown or something, and like a trenchy coat, and then just like citronella, like citron chartreuse scarf or something. So now I want like a whole like olive green and chartreusey kind of vibe for everything forever. I'm really excited. I'm gonna sew a couple of button-up shirts I'm really excited about. I think I'm gonna do Helen's Closet, the Cameron, because that's like the more unisex one that doesn't have like shaping and stuff. And I'm gonna do several fun button-ups for the winter. And then I'm gonna wear this. I never leave the house, you all. Never. I never leave the house, y'all, but like I'm gonna have to get a job in the real world just so I can like wear my Vera inspired wardrobe. So delicious. So I'm knitting that on US 4s. Oh, and here's my cutie Ms. Pac-Man. Well, it's not Ms. Pac-Man, it's just Pac-Man stitch marker from Tangerine Designs. Casey also has some Schitt's Creek stitch markers, which I might also own, as well as several other great things. But yeah, I'm so excited. I've been really like trying to like control myself and not just knit all on this, because this yarn is such a treat to me. It's a little bit outside my normal price range for like a bigger project, but it's so delicious. It is like, God help me if I ever learn to spin this yarn. It's so spongy. I don't know how they make it so spongy. There must be like zero twist in the single. Okay, I gotta stop messing with it. So spongy. Okay. And then the only other thing I have to show you is I did start a stitchery, and I'm so excited about it. So a little while back, I told you I got a kit upon the recommendation of a patron. I got a kit from Avlea, A-V-L-E-A, cross stitch. So she does a lot of like folk inspired cross stitch motifs, and she has lots of kits. She also sells this fabric. And someone suggested, because I was talking about how I was working on a cross stitch and I was using linen, and I can only see it if I'm like using a light, like a special light, like on it. And I'm like really, and I prefer to just be a little bit more casual. Like I like to be able to just like be watching TV and not have to have like a setup happening to do the thing I want to do, because probably, in all honesty, I'm probably going to do that thing for like 10 minutes and then do something else for 10 minutes. Okay, maybe not 10 minutes, but you know what I mean? So I just like, that's a hindrance, right? Like it's a hindrance to get that other like piece of equipment out, the light and stuff like that, because I don't have one permanently set up where I'm working. So I mentioned that because I like the cross stitching, but I just could not see it. And so I was like wondering if there was, you know, like if anybody had any suggestions. And it has like a little magnifier on my light too, which also really helps. But again, I just wanted to be able to do it like a little bit more casually. And so this fabric is, oh gosh, sorry. This fabric is much easier for me to see. Of course, I'm talking about seeing, and now my eyes are going to go crazy for a second. It's more open, so it's still an even weave. I need like a macro lens on here. So I think it's considered a 32 count, which is essentially what I was working on my other one. Maybe it was 36. But you can use 2 strands of floss, which I also really like. Like I really like the coverage of 2, like I like the way 2 strands of floss looks, but when I'm using linen, like especially the 36, and I think even the 32, Like I think I have used 2 strands on 32, but it's like so like hard to put your needle in it, like when the stitches get dense. So this you can use 2 strands, and so we're like, who cares? Well, I care. For one thing, it like gets less like, it puts less stress on the individuals, like on the strands, so that they don't get like as monkey. It's mucky and gunky at the same time. Clearly. What else? Whatever. And I like also the way it looks. So yes, when I'm doing the 2, I have some where there's 2 stitches together, and yeah, you can definitely tell a difference. It's a little bit snugger, but it doesn't feel like I'm fighting to get the needle through. And it's so much easier to see. There's just like more space between the threads. And it's like one thread versus the linen, which sometimes feels like maybe it's multiple plies. I don't know. I'm not looking at the other thing right now. I'm talking out of my... Don't listen to me. Ever. But so I'm super enjoying it. Like, look how much I got done. Right? And like literally I can just like watch Time Team and stitchy stitch. It's very pleasant. So I kind of, I started off center. I didn't do the thing I'm supposed to do where I'm, you're supposed to start in the middle or like actually measure. So I'm a little bit tight here to do the like super cutie folded hem. I don't know. I might still try to wrangle it. We'll see. We'll see. Or I might just go with something else. We'll see. So you can either use it, I don't know, I'm probably not a fancy enough lady to like have a pretty candy dish, but I can just sit this somewhere on a surface. There are no surfaces in my house. I don't know who I think I am. So she also gives you a chart where you can kind of like, if you want to do like a saying or something in the middle, or like make it like a birth or wedding or commemorative or just like a naughty cross stitch. I don't care. So she does give you so you can plan that out. So I might do that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Basically, I'm just enjoying the stitching. Stitcheringing. So yay that! And I'm excited. I ordered some more of this fabric because she does sell just the fabric, and you can get it in a fat quarter, a half, or a full yard. And it is comparable with other cross stitch fabrics. Like I think the full yard is $63, and the fat quarter is like $25 or something. And that seems like it's like relatively close to other, if not, I mean, even the non-hand dyed ones I think are pretty, whatever. It's that price. I like it. I ordered some more because I have some more stitcheries that I really want to do that I had just been like about. So yay. And I haven't tried to dye this fabric, but I don't see why you couldn't dye it yourself if you wanted like a different colorway. But so that is, again, this is the Evangeline border cross stitch pattern. I would like the chart. I'll just show you a tiny bit. I would like the chart to be a little bit bigger. Not necessarily that it's hard to see the chart, but luckily there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 7 colors in it, but it would be hard to see the symbol inside the little, the square, if it were not so few colors. I'm trying to think of what to say, but most of hers are like they are fewer colors. So yeah, I need to make myself a stitchery project bag. Okay. But this works okay. All right, and then I think that's all. Oh my gosh, that's all. Oh, mullet episode complete. Bam. So yeah, that's what's going on here. Hopefully next time it will not be a heat advisory situation when we talk and you come over. You can take some candied jalapenos, but don't take the pickles. They're terrible. And they also might be poisonous. I don't know what happens to whatever that calcium chloride when it probably turns into like something acid. I don't know. I don't think so. I think there would be a big warning on there. Why do they sell the pickle fresh in such a giant jar? You only need like an eighth of a teaspoon for a pint jar. And they sell it in like a half cup quantity. That's too much. Anyway, I need, again, yet another reason our knitting, gardening, weaving, spinning, stitching, canning commune needs to happen. I mean, it's to save money. In our tiny homes with our communal kitchen, which is always stocked with a fresh jar of calcium chloride. Just saying. I think it's calcium chloride. I'm saying that, and somebody's going to be like, dude, that's legitimately like a bomb. No, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Anyway. Okay, I think that's all. And now I'm super hungry and I need to go eat something. I don't know what that's going to be. I've eaten enough cottage cheese and pineapples to send me over the edge, but it's too hot to eat food. Anyway, I just want my body to not be moist for like a minute, right? Like I would just like some of the crevasses that I possess to not be moist. Just really, like, even if I'm not moving at all, and I am in an air conditioned home. My thermostat is on 76 degrees. It is not hot. I am so done. So complainy. I just want to move to the tundra. Ugh. Is anybody looking for a Canadian mail order bride? Wait. Are any Canadians looking for a mail order bride? There we go. Maybe Scotland, maybe Scottish folk, maybe some Scandinavias. If you have a small farmstead, a small holding, and you live in a country with universal health care, and yeah, just hey. How you doing? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So oh my gosh, I need to stop talking. By the way, I just looked outside and like I attempted to do hanging baskets again. Stop me next time. And like literally the only thing that's growing in the hanging basket is a weed. Because everything else is just like char. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm good at other things. Anyway, I'll talk to you next time.